Yeah, how you doing? All right. Nice to meet you. Today is another stream, and we're going to be learning a lot about Africa, learning a lot about how to build products, how we're starting startups in Africa, and how to just make sense of the entire startup scene. I'm with Victor. Just hope I didn't murder your name there. So, Victor is an experienced venture builder. I've worked with Victor before now. He advises he can. I'm pretty sure he can take you from that point where you don't know what to do about your idea. Zero to one, to the point where you do not know what to do with your idea, to that point where you are, you know, just making good use of the idea that you've gotten and you're turning it into a very, very real product. So I'm just definitely gonna allow Victor. Pretty sure he'll do that better. How you doing?
Yeah, hi, Paul. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Victor, fondly called the strategist, I'm a venture builder, startup operator, and of course, a business strategist. My work is at the intersection of, strategy, operations, and learning. In the past 5 years, I've worked with, lots and lots of founders, and I've supported, founders to build and launch about 20 companies, and these companies are already doing, billions of dollars in combined revenue. Some of these companies has got into global accelerators like, Techstars, like Google for Startup, Africa, and some other accelerator platforms. Currently, my newest project is Seedling. So what we're doing with Seedling is to rethink the way we want to position graduate professionals for work. We believe that um, aside from technical skill sets like product design, product management, cloud computing, software engineering, people need soft skills like
Yeah.
communication, like email etiquette, like attention to detail, and all such things, emotional intelligence, leadership, time management. They need all of this to be able to thrive in the workplace. So Seedling is providing all of these skills, a digital learning platform, which means anywhere in the world you could just log in, and guess what, you're going to be learning from experienced operators, because we believe that everyone should start their career in operations. And so what
Okay.
we're doing right now is to, help build out talent in operations across different fields, not just in tech, but also in non-tech. Yeah. So that's part of me. Yeah. There's just so many parts to me, but this is just a part of
Okay.
me.
Okay. So yeah, that statement really caught me. You said everyone should begin their career in operations, right? Why should everybody why shouldn't I just take a Udemy course, learn how to code and start building anything any idea I can think of? Why should I begin my career in operations?
Yeah, it's our belief that operations is the engine of any business. It's the it's what makes the money, right? Honestly, coding doesn't make the money. All right, coding is a process, is one of the tools that you then use to operate to make the money. So just think about this, right? If you have um, a sound software developer writes out the code, gets the product ready. If the product doesn't go to the hands of the end consumer, right, you're as good as somebody without the product,
Without a
right?
brag.
No
Yeah.
money. And no money, no business. Business is not about products, right? It's about the money. Now, to get the money, you need a product. But it's not enough to get the product. You also need to engineer the process. So we believe that operations is that even in the product itself, there's operations. There's what we call product operations. You need to work with, you know, um, the different teams, the products, the engineering, the UI UX, right? You need to work with synergize with different people to even get the product out. And that's why at times you hear things like, oh, we 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 are 2 weeks behind timeline in launching the product, right? Because there's an operation aspect of even getting the product. So we believe that operations is the life of any business. And if anybody leaves university and starts their career in operations, they begin to have a business thinking. Now, let me just say something. When you look at
Okay.
founders who were once operators, they do better. I mean, the stats are there. Founders who were once operators, whether they were in marketing, whether they were in sales, business development, right, core operations, HR, when they launch a company, that operating experience they have, they bring it into thinking about launching a company. But founders with no operating experience, they do poorly because they always think it's about the idea. They always think it's about, the product, how good the product is, the UI UX. When you look at Steve, he's an operations guy. People think he's a product guy. Steve is more of a marketing guy than a product guy. Why? How do I know this? Go and check all the product launch sessions, right? Launching the
Yeah.
iPod, the iPhone. Steve always does the launch himself. He knows how to better sell Apple products. He will sell iPod. He sold iPhone to us. If he was alive, he would have sold, all of this. So Steve is a marketing guy to me. He's more of a marketing guy than a product guy. He knows how to market Apple in such a way that, you just want to get yours even before it launches, right? He's very good at that. So operating a company, once you have that experience, it's easier to transition to becoming a founder because you know all the moving parts. Yeah, so that's why we believe that graduate professionals should begin their career in operations.
Um, so let's take it back to Africa, right? So I'm we're having this chat not to generalize a whole lot of things, but to bring it back to Africa because I've been in the narco space like we discussed before the call, and we have seen thousands and thousands of people take advantage of the low code or the no code space to build very good products that can compete with products that requires engineers to build those products. But personally, I've not really seen a whole lot of Africans, diving into the no-code space, right? Most of the persons I've seen in Africa diving into this space are either freelancers or people who are learning to build for other people. But I haven't really seen this. So I'm kind of asking because the barrier before now it used to be the fact that the cash to a higher, so it's huge, and then so Africans are not launching product because of that. But now the barrier, it's almost not there anymore because you can do so much with spreadsheet, with Airtable, with a whole lot. So what do you think? Why are Africans not building product right now, even though the barrier it's very low, it's reducing by the day? Why do you think? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Why are Africans not building product?
When we say why Africans are not building products, I mean it's relative. Do you mean not building products with no code tools? Just so I understand, your question.
Okay. I mean, not just not building product with no code too. So I not like I feel. I think according to stats, we don't have a lot of Africans building very useful product, not just free, but also. I'm just saying why are African founders not taking advantage of the space, taking advantage of no code space to launch new tech to affect people outside Africa. I don't know if it makes sense to you.
Okay, great. So I believe that there are several reasons why, like I mentioned earlier, it's relative when you say why are they not, building products. I think that people are building products, right? Um, maybe there's a certain speed of building products that you're referring to, but I believe that people are building products, and these days, because founders are getting more, they are getting more education. They're getting to understand that you don't just build a product because you are fascinated about a certain industry. You have to build a product that solves an actual problem. I think The focus here should be how can we build, products that actually solves problem. And now that the funding craze is a bit, you know, is a bit dying down because we see a lot of startups just closing out because they have wasted investors' money. And now investors are just weary of, especially African founders, because there's already a track record or a pattern of, lavishing the money and throwing away the money. And so people are just, counting the opportunity costs. Should I build this product or should I just get a job? So there's always that opportunity cost that it's now on the table. So I believe that the more education or the more grounded entrepreneurs are with the right education, people would then begin to build companies the right way. Now, even if this means to, cut back on the rate at which we build and launch products. Um,
Okay.
I believe strongly that the focus for Africa should be how can we build impactful products and not just how can we build products or fundable products, because it feels like founders are trying to build for VCs and not for the users, right? Building for VC are products that we call fundable products. Building for the users, right, are what we call impactful products. It solves, an actual problem. So that's where I think our headspace should be around African founders building and launching products. Are you there? Hi, Paul. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze and I wasn't hearing anything.
Oh, sorry about that. Don't know what's going on with the network today. Okay, so you were saying that the question should. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wow. Hi, Victor, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear you.
Okay, okay. So you're saying that you're saying that the issue is we build impactful products, right? That impact Africans, that we can export all the way. So, and one of the things I've gotten from while you were talking, it's about the thinking, right? So, if you were being somebody who has been doing this for a while, you've helped up to 20 startup launch very good product on a global scale. How do you think? How should an African or a person who's based in Nigeria, you want to launch product for the global scale, or you want to launch product internally? What should be the basics? How should that person think of product? I mean, now that we've established it's not just writing JavaScript or a couple of line of code or launching an app on the Play Store. What should be the thought process? Now I have an idea. I have an idea, but what should be my thought process actually before? I mean, from having that idea in my head or spotting that problem to the time where I get to say, okay, I'm going to launch this problem, or I'm even going to work on it. What should be my thought process?
I think that's a very good question. Thank you. I believe we want to start with reimagining things and not say I have an idea, is to say I have found a problem. Because it feels like that word is very, very,
Okay.
regular. Everybody has an idea, right? To be honest, a fool has an idea, you know. Has an idea. You know that thing that
Absolutely.
it's a joke, but I'll throw it in. Um,
Okay.
the presidential aspirants, Mr. Peter Obi, right? So he
Yeah.
threw in a joke when he was, part of during that election period, Nigerian elections, by the way. And then he said the idea he got to do one certain XYZ transformation, he got it from a madman.
Yeah.
That thing is very fun. People use it now as like, but he got it from a madman. That
Yeah.
man has an idea. So ideas are like everybody has one. So you don't start by saying I have an idea. Wrong. I have found a problem. So when you find a problem, you then build an idea out of that problem. So in trying to think a solution for that problem, an idea pops. Now, if you have an idea before you find a problem, what do? You go back to do what I call idea problem fit. Your idea must fit into a problem. If it doesn't fit into a problem, you need to discard that idea
Okay.
immediately. Idea problem fit. Now, when you do that, you get into what we call the the concept, the proof of concept. What we call it proof of concept is I have proof that this idea aligns with a problem that some group of people are currently experiencing. That's what it means, pretty much.
Okay.
So, and then from proof of concept, you then validate it to start building like an MVP, which is like your minimum viable product,
Right. Right.
right? And that's where you then do what we call the PM fit, the product market fit, which is that idea that has found an expression in a problem, or now that problem, right? That problem was now tied into uh, a certain market. So we call it product market fit. Now, the product at this early stage, does it fit into the market? Whether it's been launched, like, does it fit? Is there an alignment between that product and the market? So you start from idea, problem, fit, right? And then you do um, uh, product market fit. So it passes the problem phase, then it moves to the market phase, right? So what I'll say is this: never start with an idea.
Pretty much different.
Never do that. Start with a problem, then you work backwards to the idea. And that's why, when you're trying to
But
design um,
okay.
experience
Go ahead.
customer, right? So you don't start with the awesome technology. I think Steve has said this sometimes before, some many years ago. You start with the experience, you work backwards to the technology, which is what kind of experience do we want to create for the customer? Where do we want to take the customer, right? How do we want to serve the customer? Then we work backwards to what technology are we going to build to create that experience for the customer. So you don't start with an idea, right? No potential customer has an idea problem. Imagine, so I have an idea problem. No, people have problems, which is I'm trying to pay this bill with my card, it's not working. Oh, I'm trying to get food online, I can't see any. So these are problems. Oh, I'm trying to get to this place in 10 minutes without leaving my house. What do I use? Oh, mobility problem. So there's mobility problem, there is food problem, there is healthcare problem, there's education problem, which is where
You're
education,
playing.
career,
Yeah.
plays in, right? So there's a lot of problems, right? And for us with Seedling, let me just wrap up here. What was the problem? We saw, and I'll probably share some screenshots of tweet. Maybe probably you say it, and probably maybe repost or retweet to the audience, right? So the truth is, we've seen a lot of people complain. People can't get stuff done. People have zero attention to detail. They are not excellent, right? They don't can't manage their time. They can't even communicate clearly. They can't even articulate their words, right? And someone said something that a certain person lost a promotion at work, not because they were not badass, they were badass, but he lost that promotion, true life story, because the management has seen that he couldn't communicate effectively with his peers. Now these were people
Oh,
who were supposed to start managing. If you can't communicate effectively amongst these people, how do you want to lead a team? That was the only reason lost that. Communication and leadership. Essentially, effective communication. So you can be good individually, but you never grow in your career. So we saw this gap, right? People lack the soft skills and the job readiness skills, to start and grow their career. And that's why you hear things like job seekers will say, there are no jobs. Recruiters will say, there are thousands of jobs, there are no talents. You see? But what we see are saying is that there are jobs and there are talents. But only that the talent that is available for employment is not desirable for employment. So
Okay.
we need to make them desirable. Yeah.
Desirable. Yeah, definitely. I'm super happy with what you guys are doing at what you're doing with Seedling. I've where I work, I run a startup myself, and I see how this problem, pan out. Even during morning stand up, we do morning stand up every time by 10 a.m. in the morning, and then you put an idea on the table and you're asking everyone to, what do you think? It's a common question that you normally ask in the morning, or when you're starting a new project. What do you think? And everywhere goes silent. You know, sometimes you almost the person. It's not something that you want to do. You don't want to, be the one to think, to bring out all the ideas of how the project should work. But because everyone is not talking, so it seems as if everybody should follow you. But that's not what you want. That's not how you want to build a company. You don't want people who just follow you, keep following you. You want people who says, I'm not sure if this thing is going to work like this. And I really I hope you do. I hope when you launch Seedling, finally come up with all the courses you do, like corporate packages too. Yeah, you don't just onboard one person. You're able to onboard a team because my team, at work here at the company here, we have book of the week. So we do book of the week every single time. I think the last one was um, Win Without Pitching Manifesto, right? Win Without Pitching Manifesto. Can't tell who wrote it now. So in order for us to, for everyone on the team to get to learn, but I see because of as a result of social media, a lot of persons are learning via videos. So definitely we'll be looking forward to jumping on the corporate package. I just hope, where you're able to get all the team and you're able to monitor everybody to make sure that, hey, you're actually watching this so everyone can improve. But I want to go back to, so we all started with, I have a problem. I've noticed I have a problem or I have an idea and I want to build it. But how do you spot a problem in the first place? Some persons are pretty good at spotting a problem. Maybe they're leaving their house and they're going home and they feel, I'm not sure you're supposed to be selling this like this. I'm not sure this should be packaged like this. But there are some persons that those things doesn't come naturally to them. They have to be taught how to actually spot a problem. How do you really spot a problem as a person? Tailored to an African, as an African or as a Nigerian who doesn't just want to, who wants to build locally? Let's start from local. What are they? Are there any framework, tips, and tricks for actually spotting a problem that you should think about solving?
Okay. By the way, before I answer that, I think there's a question from Black Beauty. So
Oh, oh,
how do you spot a problem? Yeah, I believe strongly that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you must be someone that loves problems. And so problems are always in the environment. You must be observant. You have conversations. When I get into Uber, I like to talk and do chit chat with my driver. When I go to the groceries, I like to do chit chat with the attendants, or go to the local market. I like to chit chat with the woman selling, local food items because I just want to understand. In fact, when people deliver my food, like guys like from Chowdeck, and
yeah,
Glovo, all of those guys, right? By the way, this is not a promotion, but I'm just saying. So when people deliver
yeah,
those food packages to me, I ask questions. Oh, what do you? How does it work? How do you guys have this? Do you have that? So I ask all of those questions just to understand, how the operations is. So you want to be someone that is asking questions, and that's where you discover problems. You watch a lot, you observe your environment. Let's say you hop on a local bus, you're just watching, you're just seeing all of the operations. And then when you're watching, because you only find what you're looking for, you only find what the idea with when you say, "Oh, I found my book," it's because you were looking for the book. People make a mistake to say, "Oh, you can't find what you're." Even if you say, "Oh, I'm looking for my glasses," and then you didn't see it, and then you stop looking for it. Guess what? Maybe
Yeah.
2 days later, "Oh wow, I found my glasses," because you were looking before.
You were looking for it subconsciously, right?
You can never say, "I found." Nobody has ever said, "Oh, I found my jacket." You weren't looking for a jacket before. You can't say that, right? So you say what you find what you're looking for.
Looking
And that's
for.
why, as an entrepreneur, you must always have your Wi-Fi for problems turned on, right? In every sector, you're making calls, telco. What are the problems there? And when your Wi-Fi for problem is on, is begin to gravitate, towards problems. And I'll say this, if you can, anybody listening from any part in the world, you can try this. It works, right? It's a neuroscience, right? It's a psychological thing. If you say, "I want to buy a red Lexus," right? A red Lexus car, right? And that's what you desire to buy. You've seen the car before, you love it. Every time you get on the road,
You
right?
start seeing the red
You start
Lexus.
seeing red Lexus. How it happens, I can't be able to explain that in full detail, but
Yeah.
you begin to attract it, right? So first, you want to be able to love problems. You want to turn your Wi-Fi for problem scouting on. Once that is turned on, why people are complaining about the how transportation is broken in their country, you're seeing problems that you can use maybe technology to solve, right? Why people are complaining why food is not working, this sector is not working. People who don't see problems complain. People who see problems, leverage and create solutions. And that's the way to really spot problems, by actually looking for one, right? And then observing your environment, having conversations. You must talk to the environment. You must talk to the market, right? You get into a new country. Oh, how do you guys do payment here? Oh yeah, we use this. We swipe, and then, oh wow, when you swipe, what happens? So when you swipe, the money goes out. Okay, how long does it take? It takes about 2 hours. Why can't it take 10 minutes, though? Well, this how it works here. We've not found anything that can take 10 minutes. If you get something that take 10 minutes, would you love it? Oh wow, we'll jump on it. You found a problem. How can we shorten the time it takes for them to get the alert after they swipe their card? Okay, if we put in this API and put that API, once they shake hands, we can cut short that 1 hour to 20 minutes. And bam, that becomes, you start selling the API. And the big guys will be happy to buy the API. Or they could even just, because you know what, let's buy your company, right? And you make the money onto the next product. You see, that's how you think as an entrepreneur, right? You don't go around trying to complain and trying to, and whine about problems. You look for the problem and you ask yourself, how do we reimagine things here? How do we rethink, right, this? And that's what really makes you an entrepreneur. It's how you think, not founder CEO, co-founder CTO. That doesn't make you an entrepreneur. How you think, because how you think controls even how you behave and how you respond to things. Yeah.
So that's why you're wearing that glass. It magnifies all the problem around you, so you can solve it, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you hear me? I said so. That's why you wear that cool glasses. It's
Yeah, I
it's
heard it.
AI,
I heard it. I heard
magnifies
it.
all the problem around you, so you can spot it.
Yeah, I mean, if you say
Okay.
that, I heard that.
Okay, so this question by Black Beauty, it's very cool. So I've seen a lot of people remiss, they remiss problem from other country or problem from a bigger market, and they are bringing it to a smaller market. Maybe problem from a countrywide market, they're bringing it to a citywide market. Or problem from being solved by a very large continental company, and then they're bringing it to their local city. And so that would lead me to, a lot of startups. I'm pretty sure you've seen people copy. What's the right way to copy? I think that's what beauty is trying to ask here. What's the right way to copy? a bigger problem. Copy a company that's solving a very big problem. Maybe we see Facebook solving a communication problem, a communication community, kind of problem, helping people to communicate, loved ones to come. Coming back to Lagos, I want to solve it in Lagos. What's the best way to just copy? Because if I want to build everything that Facebook has, it's never going to launch. It's never going to go anywhere. I'm just going to be stuck trying to bring all the features. And Facebook definitely have lots of more data. They can offer better user experience. So, what's the right way for somebody like Beauty who intends to copy something that's happening somewhere? What's the right way to copy?
All right. Thank you for the question, Black Beauty. So, I mean, it's not new, right? Because people, I mean, when you look at delivery, as it were, right, it's not something that started out in Nigeria, you know. So some other advanced countries has been doing it, right? But let's say you find something happening in the US, but it's not in Africa, or it's not even in Nigeria, or it's in other parts of African countries, but it's not in Nigeria. I'm just using Nigeria as a case study, you know. So what do?
Yeah.
You bring it to your home country, like you start working on it, right? You start working on it. Now there are two ways to do this. Whether you want to do it as you, solely yours, or you want to do it and then position yourself to be bought over by the other party. Now let's look at the a very important example: Paystack and Stripe. When Shola started out, in 2015, there was like payments was so broken in Nigeria, and Stripe was already way ahead. Is working, so he wanted to build Stripe for Africa. That's how Paystack
Yeah.
started. Now look at 7 years down the line, the almighty Stripe would then come to acquire Paystack. You see it now. They built something so valuable that, so oftentimes Black Beauty is not about trying to outcompete the big guys. It is even positioning yourself to be bought by them. Imagine building something that, let's say, um, a Goldman Sachs or an Apple or a
Yeah.
Google Alphabet will come and acquire. That's going to run into like hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I think it's a better win, joining a bigger family. So Paystack is doing a lot more better, right, than when they were just, solo on their own. So joining a bigger family like Stripe, right, makes them really do very great work. So you can build that same thing in your locale, right? While positioning to be acquired by the big guys already doing it, in other countries on a larger scale. And that's how I think you need to go about that. So forget about trying to, you know,
Compete.
compete with them. You can even just position yourself to be bought over by them and not trying to compete with them, because just think about it. Do you know that with Apple, the new Apple OS 18, some startups are going to die a permanent death.
Extinct. Yeah.
Apple just needs to have like maybe two scrum meetings, and maybe 10 startups will be dead with that meeting, right? What 10 startups were trying to build months and maybe 9 months, 12 months, Apple can launch that as a feature in 1 week. So your entire company that you spent maybe a year trying to build out, Apple can just release a feature, and then your company has been launched as a feature, just a feature. So because they have deeper pockets, you don't want to do that. Imagine trying to build something that will compete with Microsoft. There's no need to do that, right? What you want to do is to build something that Microsoft can come and acquire, and then you join a bigger family. Because when you look at Paystack, Shola is not saying CEO of Stripe. No, he's still the CEO of Paystack. And Paystack is still doing what they are doing. Their vision did not change, right? It's one of like the most sweetest acquisition. You can still keep your company, do what you want to do, right? But you already know that you're part of a bigger family and you have more access and all of that. So you don't need to build something that can compete at that level. You know, you just need to build something that worst case scenario or even best case scenario, the bigger company will come and acquire your own company.
Um, okay, so I know acquisition is one thing. On some of the questions I wanted to ask you was about funding. So now that you brought it up, I know acquisition is one thing, but we've seen companies like Zoe, right? Company like Zoe go all the way from zero all the um, with zero, with keeping all the equity, just keeping all the equity remaining private for themselves. And we see a lot of Africans building for acquisition. So, in terms of attracting funding to yourself, is it good for Africans to keep building for acquisition or building for profit? Let me say, at what point do you build for profit, or because I see a lot of people, a lot of founders in Africa, they build, and the next thing they want to do, they want to sell, and they want to exit. They want to sell, exit, or some person. We've even seen some persons, they've gotten huge funding and they run it down. Come around, give a press statement, and say all the money is gone.
Okay,
That,
just
like you said before, that has led to very low investment confidence in the African space, because we've seen a lot of people, you know We've seen a lot of people run it down. So, at what point do you build for profit? Saying, I'm just going to build this stuff, I'm going to be profitable. I wouldn't care if someone acquired or not. And at what point do you build for acquisition? I don't know. Do you get me right?
yeah, I did. I mean, you don't start out trying to. I mean, you can also start out say, "I want to build to be acquired." There's nothing wrong with that. Or you can decide to start out say, "I want to build for something that would outlive, right? Something that is going to outlive me, right?" But I mean, there are different types of acquisition, right? Someone can be acquired and lose any form of decision making power or whatever. Now, you can be acquired and you still maintains a bit of some controlling power, more like the Paystack Stripe acquisition. Paystack gets to keep their management team, also gets to, excuse me, also gets to make decisions and be part of running the company, right? I wouldn't say, oh, this is when you should build for acquisition, or this is when you should build for, but primarily it's always good to ensure that, and that's the caveat I'm going to give, to ensure that your business, right, like you build what will outlive you, which is even if it gets acquired, you know, you're going to still have to keep working on the business, while leveraging on the bigger firm and all of that. And this is very, very important. So I think we should not start being upset. Oh, should I build for acquisition or should I build? By the time you start to build and start to look at different things in the market, and you then know that, okay, based on all of this, observation, I'm going to build for the market, right? Or I'm going to build, for impact, for something that is going to outlive me, and also
Yeah.
going to essentially employ hundreds or thousands of people and create jobs and all of that. Yeah. So the person building or the entrepreneur has to have their own discretion,
Yeah.
right? Based off research, conversations, and all of those things. Then know that, oh, let's build this for acquisition straight up.
Yeah, cool, cool. Then that will also lead to a different question entirely. Thank you very much, Victor, for hanging in there. I know you have a whole lot on your plate recently. That will also lead to a question. So I listened to Asemota. I'm pretty sure you know him on Twitter. Talk about startup. That our definition of startup in Africa, it's skewed, right? He would even tell that the guy who's selling ice cream down the street is actually running the startup, because she couldn't go to the ice cream factory and go, get it yourself. So he's bringing it down, and He's giving it to you at the price, and then there's an exchange. So he's a startup. He could actually say, "I'm gonna." You can subscribe to my ice cream, right? So that would be a subscription-based startup. So in your own, your own point of view, um, okay, let me just continue. So when we hear Africa say I'm building a startup, they always say I'm building something that lives on the mobile phone, or I'm building something that lives on the browser, or I'm building something that lives on the desktop, right? So what in your own definition? What's a startup as a person who's in Nigeria, who's an African? What's a startup for you? What does it mean? If I come to you and say I'm building a startup, what comes to your mind?
Hmm. Such a very interesting question. I think what makes a startup is the innovative ability of that startup, right? Innovation and agility, which is being able to do the hard things, right? And also doing it fast. And this is very important. So, innovation and agility, which is you must continue to rethink the way things are. The way payments are in Nigeria currently is not the way it was in 2010.
Absolutely, it's not.
By
It's
the
not.
time we get to 2020, 30 or 20, whatever. So you see that what we have now will be so laughable. Will be so laughable. So I'll just say that, you know, is is just very important to have a certain mindset, right? And that's that mindset I'm picking back to the mindset of, an entrepreneur, right? So it's not a black or white situation, right? It's not a
Yeah.
black or white situation, but that mindset, having that mindset is like super super important. Yeah.
So I didn't get the definition itself. So if you were to define it, how would you define it?
Okay, it's a startup, right? In
Mm-hmm.
defining a
Mm-hmm.
startup, yeah, it's a business that finds repeatable, and scalable model very fast. Now, if I'm going to break that down, pretty much it's a startup, right? Like I said, when I said it's a mindset, is that it's a way we think. If you Google, you will see where Steve still refers to Apple as a startup, right? I mean,
Okay.
many years down the line, Apple is a
The-
startup, right? Google is a startup, right? It's the way they think there, that agility. So that I mentioned two words, operative words being innovation and agility.
Agile, yeah.
And a startup, is driven by innovation and agility. So you have to find repeatable and scalable business model pretty fast. And that's the idea of that moving very fast that you have in a startup, right? It has to be innovation, there has to be, agility, which is when you talk about agile development, right? Agile thinking. So everything has to go very fast, and all of that. And I'll give, for the sake of those who might not really delve into these definitions, I'll just say very simple analogy. If you're Nigerian, there's what we call akara balls, right? Or bean
Mm-hmm.
cake.
Mm-hmm.
So
Beansball, right?
the bean cake, the woman that's we have local stores in Nigeria selling it by the roadside, right? They call it street food. So
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
woman that sells that bean cake can just be frying, maybe selling as much as maybe a thousand balls per day, you know, and receives money mechanically. You come, you queue up, you take, you pay, you leave. But a startup can say, how do we 10x what this woman is doing? Right? A startup can say, we open an online channel. We have people from everywhere in that vicinity order, right? And then we match those orders, get a delivery guy. So instead of doing 1,000 balls, we can be doing as much as
Doing
10 balls, right? Or doing 20,000 balls every day. You see, now it has to be repeatable, it has to be scalable, right? It has to be repeatable, it has to be scalable. So the innovation there is we brought in technology to say, you know what, you don't need to leave your house to come and queue and buy these akara balls. You just be in your house, open an app, order how many balls you want, pay, right? And then it will be delivered to your doorstep, And with that, we can then expand the workforce, the team. Let's have like 10 more
Yeah.
people frying these akara balls instead of having just one
Fine. Yeah.
and then waiting for, oh, when,
Keep
I
on
don't
going.
know for those eating akara. So when you come and tell you, oh, it's not ready, come back in 25 minutes, right? Because nobody wants to hear that. Like, I'm going out, right? I'm going out this morning. I can't come back. But now, when you pre-order or you order, you know, there's clarity on how many people, should get it, right? So it has to be repeatable. It has to be scalable. Two words: is this thing innovative, right? And are we agile, right? There's no room for laxity and bureaucracy. So repeatable and scalable business model, and it
Scalable business problem.
has to be driven by innovation and agility. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Before we enter the question, so I like that word that you used, repeatable and scalable. So I personally SaaS software because of the kind of work I do. So I have to subscribe to a lot of SaaS providers, and most of them are in the UK or in the US. But when I think of this SaaS software, most times these are things that we can build. These are things that we can build right here. That's the barrier. It's very low. I think payment used to be the barrier mostly. How do I collect money from an American or from somebody in China? But there are other payment gateway now that's solving that problem. And the question is, why are we not scaling outside? Why are we not scaling outside the country? Why are we not building these same solutions? It might just be building an AI wrapper, wrapper for AI, doing the same thing, but just maybe targeted towards a different niche entirely. And so that begs the question, why are we not scaling outside? Is it that we're scared to scale outside? I mean, having worked with a lot of startups, is it that there's a barrier to scaling outside of Nigeria? Do we have to put all our eggs here? Because if I go online now and I search for testimony, maybe probably I search for testimony generator or something like testimony creator, stuff like that you would normally embed to your website and just use it. And a lot of startup will charge you 99, 99 a month, and that's a huge amount of money. So work with a lot of people. Why do you think we're not going outside? We're not saying, okay, I'm going to build and I'm going to offer my solution to other people outside. What's your thought?
That's a very tricky question because scaling is a high level conversation, right? And
Sure, sure.
the idea with scaling is not to go to an event in Ghana, right? Get a contact, and next thing you open a Twitter account and you write your startup name and put GH. Say, oh, we've
Okay.
now entered. When people
Yeah, I
say
get
things
that.
like that, we've entered Kenya, what they're telling you is that I attended an event, I took a contact of one person, and then that means we've entered Kenya,
We've entered,
right?
yeah.
So, there's a lot of nuance around scaling, and we joke with that word a lot.
Mhm.
And when you talk about scaling, it's that we have found an opportunity in other countries for the same problem, but how we go about that opportunity is quite different. You'd also agree with me that Nigeria, is not the best place, like, is not in its best state right now. Uh, because Nigeria is not in its best state right now. Well, there are some issues which I mentioned before with founders lavishing money, right? But we have to even ask ourselves, have we really doubled down on Nigeria, right? Before even scale to other markets. Scaling is that I'm doing something in big quantity. I'm making tremendous impact, right? I've seen that there are loopholes in other countries that I can also sell this. Now, that's one. There's also the issue of policy, right? You would agree with me that in Nigeria, I mean, no disrespect to the country, right? It's something that we believe that one day it would be solved, right? The quote unquote anyhowness in Nigeria makes it sort of like a bit bearable to run a company. Because when you scale to,
Mhm.
say, UK, the policy is different.
Mhm.
You can't just go
Yeah,
there
of
and
course.
doing what you like. You know, um, you don't have. I think the privilege we have as Nigerians in Nigeria is you have you have a lot of ground to test, your whatever, to test, because in the UK or in US, once you incorporate your company today, whether you're making
Mhm.
money or not, it starts reading. You are going to pay all the fees, tax, all of they're going to pay everything. They do not care. All right. So, but we don't have. So also policy problem could make founders not scale their ideas. Oh, am I ready to deal with this policy? Oh, this will require me to pay 78 million.
Okay.
Am I ready to do that? Right? Am I ready to do that? So I think there's a lot of angle to this whole why are founders not scaling out of the country. One is they may not have the balls to do that yet. Excuse my French, or they may not have the you know the agility and the courage
To
to
do
do
that.
right to do that. So you don't just walk walk away from something that is working because you want to get into other space. So I'd say don't be too quick to enter into other market. However, once you find an opportunity or a loophole, you want to take advantage of that. This is very, very important.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So I think that so Black Beauty is asking some questions that I think Seedling will have answers to. Funders Kaba will have answers to. So I'm a part of the Funders Kaba, community, and I see some of the I even though I don't contribute so much because I'm not such a chatty person, but I check out I see some of the conversations that happen there, and they're very very helpful. And I think that's one of the conversations that would normally happen on the Founders Kaba community. That's something that she's asking right now. How do you handle issues for a new tech startup with a solution to a problem, but you don't have, the funding to hire staff, to run daily expenses, and all that stuff. So, Victor, please talk about the Founders Kaba community. We'll share the link on the chart here. I'm sure a lot of persons will be interested in joining that community. I've been part of it. There's a lot of help that is readily available there, free help over there that someone like Black Beauty can jump into. Please talk about it so everyone who's on the call, they're able to jump into this opportunity.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Founders Cabal is an early stage community of founders, right, in Africa, building across different markets, right? We started Founders Cabal because, I mean, building a company is hard. It's harder in Africa, and you need a support system, right? We wanted to create an enabling environment, and a supportive system. When you have like when someone is going through a terminal disease like AIDS,
Mm-hmm.
you have
Mm-hmm.
what we call, support groups they go to. You meet other
Yeah,
people who are dealing with the same, issue, and then you guys
to
can
encourage you. Yeah.
together. So we have, and the interesting thing with our support system is that we have different strata of founders: those who have launched a product, those who are already making money, those who are making a hell of money, and those who are about to launch, the product idea. So you see, now when people ask questions, that's why it's easier to know to see that at least one person would have an answer to that question, right? That's just what happens at the cabal. So it's really about threshold, right? So at the end of the day, right, for why we think it was important when we started Founders Cabal in 2021, after having heard all the stories, working with founders solo, coaching a lot of entrepreneurs, I realized that, you know, um, we're as much as we're lacking community, right? People are
Yeah.
making mistakes they shouldn't make, right? If you have a found, and that's why there's something we do at Founders Cabal. Once
Yeah.
you're wasting time, you know your MVP can be on Excel sheet, it can be on Ethical, it can be on anywhere. We try to ensure that no founder is wasting time trying to launch their product when they can actually put out something on a web link and just start checking if people can pay for that product, right? So There are some mistakes that you should not make. As much as we say, oh, mistakes are good, you learn from it. There are some mistakes that are very costly. If you make it, you are going to regret it. And you are going to spend time trying to get back on track. So, what we're saying is, if you're traveling a road that is a dead end and someone is flashing their headlamp, they are trying to tell you that I've gone to that dead end. Don't
There's
waste
danger ahead. Yeah.
and so what you do, you just make a U-turn, say, "Oh, thank you so much." So when you say, "Oh, allow me to get there," what did you gain by going there? So some mistakes are actually not valuable in your. So people say, "Oh, no mistakes is a waste." No, some are wastes.
Waste.
No,
Yeah.
right? So what, and that's why people. That's the idea with mentorship. A mentor cut short the time it takes for you to achieve. If they made maybe a million, their first $1 million at 30, they want to make your own first $1 million at maybe 25 or 22 or 20, right? So the community is, it's the idea is to create support, right? Share resources, and also help founders to launch their companies faster. Now, coming to Black Beauty's question very quickly, how do you handle issues as a new tech startup with a solution problem, with a solution to a problem, but without the funding to hire staff or run the expenses, considering the current issues like power, yada yada? What you do is social capital, right? I built some of the companies I built with social capital, and that's why you must invest in people. Now, if you can't sell your what you have to someone to join you for free, then I don't think what you have is valuable. If people can't join you and say, you know what, leave money alone, let's build this thing to a certain level, right? Just don't worry about salary. Don't just give me data. I'm fine. Or don't even worry about data. Let's just keep building it. Then you are not a person of value, right? Or the idea in itself is not valuable,
Valuable.
right? Because when you start out, you need to tap into your social capital. It's very, very, streets are really hard, so it is the capital you've built over time that helps you, right? Oh, let me bring in an engineer. But when you look at, let me talk to Kunle. Me and Kunle have been doing some things since 5 years. Oh, you now speak to Kunle. Kunle says, oh, wow, yeah, I'm happy to join you, build this. So I'm excited, right? That's what you do when you start up. Or the second option is you leave the startup, you go and get a job. When you get a job, you are very strategic. You know that this job is a stopgap, right? It's a cushioning effect. You get a job, let's say you're paid 1 million per month, and then you then bring in the startup by the side. And then maybe you hire people to run the operations while you do like strategic thinking and foresighting. So from your salary in your full-time job, you are then paying, those that you brought in. You see, now you keep doing that till that business grows so big that it can then afford to pay virtually, anyone. All right. So that's what you want. That's how you want to go about it. Social capital, or you just go and get a job.
Yeah, and so just to contribute to that, so I think social capital is good. Getting a job is also good, but I think not everything is technological based, right? If your startup is not technological based, it might be pretty hard for you to start because you're going to need a whole lot of people. But if there is a part of your idea that you can launch with technology, that you can simplify, you can simplify it so much technology, then you would really not need so many persons. Victor, remember this interview we had a while ago where I think it was, I don't know, truck house something. He
Sure.
was running truck. He was running his entire startup on Google spreadsheet. I remember,
Yep.
and he said he got funding all without a website or without a complex application, without an app. He got, I think it was $1.3 million or something. He got funding all by running everything about his operations on spreadsheet. So I think that's that's more reason why you should join Funders Cabal, because you would basically see other funders who are doing stuff with very little resources, and like what Victor said earlier, you're going to be energized, just seeing other people doing the same thing, accomplishing the same thing that you want to accomplish with very little resource. I'm pretty sure that's going to kick you in, make the idea kick in and make you take action, and you go ahead and execute. So I know it's 1 hour already. So I want to talk about Seedling, because I'm very interested in Seedling because I have this trouble in my startup personally, communication is a very big thing. Communication, it's a very big thing. Ownership is another thing. Help telling people, just giving somebody say, hey, you're going to do this user experience. You're going to do this UX, run through this UX for this person, and just test it to make sure it's working. And you're expecting this person to own it. You know. So, Victor, when is Seedling going to be launched? How do we assess it? Is there going to be any bonus, 1 year bonus or 2 year bonus? How do we assess it? How do we, when just give us details about it.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, the era of bonuses are over,
Oh
so let's
God, we
get
came
serious.
late.
Let's get serious with life.
We came
Um,
late. We
we've
came
not
late.
even thrown in any bonus to anyone. But by the way,
Okay.
Seedling is going to, we're targeting September, but there's a course that we're working on. So that course, right, pretty much helps people to um effectively conduct themselves in virtual meetings. Like, how do you effectively, take a virtual meeting? We realize that people can't even take virtual meetings, from preparations to how you communicate to how you position yourself, to how you get ready and things like that, right? So we're going to, go live with that course sometimes in August. But in September, we're launching a program. So that program, we call it this Career Launchpad program. So the Career
Yeah.
Launchpad program is, we have curated some very, very interesting courses that we believe that anybody that wants to um, go dive into operations can start from, right? So we looked at like different areas, and then we curated like a plethora of rich courses that is going to form the Career Launchpad program, for people who are going to get started in operations. And then we're going to also be launching like some short courses here and there. But we're
Okay.
looking at September, for the Career Launchpad program to go live. But before then, we're going to have, um, an online course, right, on virtual meeting mastery, right? How to
Okay. Awesome.
virtual meetings, right? From communicating, from operating the tools, different aspects of it, just having a blast, whether you're the one hosting, like you're doing
Oh,
right now, or you are the one, hopping in, like I'm doing, right? From interviews, I've seen people lose the job because of how they comported
conduct
themselves at
yourself.
the virtual
Yeah.
interview. Right, they lost the job. They were good for the job, but the person they were talking to didn't believe that they were good for the job. Perception, right? How they comported themselves did not portray a perception that they go for the job. So we're going to be launching that course, sometimes in August, to look out for it. And I think that's just about $10, right? So we're going to put that information up. But the Career Launchpad program, we've not put a fee to it, right? We're still working on like the back end infrastructure. Our website is currently still being worked on, right? We have to do something really, really good, because learning, it's about experience for us, right?
Absolutely.
Just come, it's not just another online learning. It's not another Coursera or another Udemy or something, right? For us, we are concerned about the experience, right? We're building for the global market. We want someone from Asia taking those courses, and someone from maybe Ethiopia taking these courses, and then they have like very unique experiences, and they can relate, and they have a good time. When you come out, you've learned something, you had a good time, and you can quickly go to apply, right? And one thing we're also doing finally is that beyond the learning, we're plugging into a network. So we have a community called Seedling Community,
Oh,
right?
cool.
The community is open to anyone that wants to start a career in operations, or want to improve their career, grow their career in operations, right? So whether you are not sure of where to start your career, you're welcome to join, right? Because we believe that a community is important. Again, that network, you need a network of people who are also on that journey, right? Whether you are one step in, two steps in, three steps in, we're all just in that community. And then we're also going to be providing resources, because it's very important. You need resources, you need access to like some, events, right? Access to materials, and things like that. So it's a blend of, the learning experience, which is the online learning experience, right? The resources, and then the network. So you learn, you get into the community, then we begin to provide you like resources to support your career growth. Yeah, that's the way we're thinking about it.
Cool. Okay, awesome, awesome. Victor, before I let you go, so on this, on giving, receiving, that's what we're doing here. Do you offer consultancy services? I know there are a lot of persons who are not interested in courses. They've really gone ahead. They are in a place where right now where they just need like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of clarity, and they're done. So if you do offer, I want to ask for a discount code for say 50%. I'm going to leave it in the chat. So it's going to be free for a long time, maybe 5, maybe 10. I don't know how you're gonna do it. Maybe 5, maybe 10. I would re-edit the description of the video. So if you do you offer search? Can we get a discount so that founders who are experienced, they don't need all of those plenty courses. They understand communication, they understand all this stuff, but they just want to go one step forward. They're stuck. Do you offer that?
Yeah, yeah. So there's this. I do product growth course, like growth strategy course. I've been this course the past 3 years.
Okay.
And most founders come out from this call with massive clarity. They know what to do next, and they come back and say, "Oh, a high view. Based off of this the product call we had, I've refined my product offerings. We're doing so great. Yeah, so we do that, and I'm happy to throw in 50% to the community, your community, right? For the all the month of
Absolutely.
all the month of July, I can throw in 50% off. However, there has to be a way to know that it's coming from Paul, so that right we are able to track where it's coming from. So I'm happy to do that all the way to the end of July.
Okay, we'll only put it on the description of the video on Twitter and on Facebook. So anyone who clicks it on Facebook, you just know it's coming from us. Don't
Fantastic.
worry. Once they exhaust it, we've taken everything we came here for.
Awesome.
And lastly, is there anyone you're looking forward to collaborating with? Anybody you would love to collaborate with? Probably someone with specific skill set or somebody with specific in a specific industry. Just say probably they can reach out to you and say, hey, I heard you say this on Founders Collab. I would like to collaborate with you. Is there something that you need right now that if I just get this person, if I'm able to collaborate with this type of person, I'll be able to move one step forward?
Okay, maybe if there's an engineering person that is interested
Okay.
in, you know, um, building for the future of work, that is interested in
Okay.
building a platform that helps people do their best work anywhere in the world. You're passionate about learning, education, and career development, right? I'm happy to collaborate with an engineer because we know that a bulk part of the work that we do at Seedling will require, very, very solid engineering infrastructure. So I'm happy to collaborate with anyone who's listening to this right now. You can just shoot me a mail, vo@seedling.africa, right? Or
It's
you can just find out in the description of the
description. Right. Yeah,
video.
it's
So
gonna be there.
you can just pick it up from there. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome, Victor. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Thank you, Victor, for contributing. I mean, this Founders Collab, the goal for us is to make sure that Africans are collaborating, we're building better products. And thank you so much for those awesome ideas and awesome conversation with you. Guys, thank you very much for joining. We would, I would, all the goodies, all the goodies right there, including the 50%, don't forget the money. The money is very important, including the 50%. I'm going to put it in the description. And also, if you're going to collaborate with Victor, you're a very experienced engineer and you want to build for the future work. Do click on the email. It's going to be there right in the description, and you can contact Victor, and you guys can take it forward. And I'm pretty sure with Victor by your side, he's the strategist. I've spoken to Victor several times, and I've watched some of his interviews. Trust me, he's one of the best guys to ask questions about Africa. If there's anyone who can build for Africa, it's definitely has to be Victor. So please reach out to him if that's you. Probably you have an engineering, but you don't just know what to do with code. You can work for other people people, but you're looking forward to working, to owning something, say, I'm the one who built this, Victor is the right person to collaborate with. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. It's me, Paul Okodoa. I'll definitely come your way and I'll be interviewing another amazing founder, strategist, somebody who's doing very well in the African sector. And I'll definitely let you know when it's going to happen via mail. I'll tell you when it's going to happen on Twitter and all the other social networks. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, you can
Um,
always leave your question. Victor is on Twitter, right? Find him on Twitter. I'm going to put that link there. You want to trouble him, you have questions, reach out to him. And if you want to join the community also, the link is going to be there. Trust me, you will like it with Founders Cabal. And I personally, I can't wait for Seedling to launch because I'm going to be there. My team is going to be there and we're going to be consuming those courses and executing as best as we can. Thank you, Victor, once again for joining. Guys, thank you for joining
before
this stream. I see you